I've decided to do a brief training around reverse engineering here, girls. And I really feel to do this because of the potency of actually doing it. And I know in previous videos I've mentioned it, but I really believe that I need to support you in the actual doing of it and give you a little bit of history on reverse engineering as a way to achieve a goal. So let's begin at the beginning of when I want to be really transparent here and give you the confidence once you've heard me share this with you, each of you, that if you do this, you too are setting yourself up to be a winner and to get what you came for. So let's hit rewind. A little bit of a story about Leslie. I was an insurance agent for 5 years back in the day, and it was commission only. And can you imagine that? I had to get new clients, and I started with, in my office, I had an empty filing cabinet, and I was not a networker even back then. I'm still not. And I didn't want to cold call anyone, knowing that nobody likes being sold to in a cold call. So in my fifth, I was still at it it was the toughest gig I've ever done. Commission, insurance agent. And I didn't do general. I didn't do all the crap, like insuring houses and businesses and cars. I didn't care about that. I just wanted to sell what I believed in. And I didn't do superannuation. And funny, isn't it? Even though I wasn't an entrepreneur back then, I wasn't big on super. I didn't have that mentality of the big superannuation. Anyway, we won't go down that rabbit hole. So my main income was, I want to tell you about reverse engineering. So thank God they brought onto the market this new product called living trauma insurance. Once I was hungry to learn about it, the ins and outs. And once I knew everything about it, I just was passionate, because what it meant was when someone got diagnosed with cancer, so to have a new insurance policy, there was a qualifying period of 12 months. You couldn't have anything pre-existing. So, of course, so if someone got cancer after that 12-month period, they got a payout while they were alive. And I just thought that was the best thing since, the saying of sliced bread, even though I don't do sliced white bread. And one of my clients, he got testicular cancer after a very short time of the policy I wrote for him and being accepted, and I was the one able to give him that, to be the bearer of that good news of his payout. And he got paid by the insurance company that I represented, which back then was National Mutual. Anyway, so I only sold what I believed in, and I didn't like term cover. I liked whole of life because it grew exponentially in the equity. So in the 5th year, the Superannuation and Insurance Commissioner were removing the end of year bonus for insurance agents, because there was always incentives, to when you wrote so much business, there were bonuses. So this was the last year and it was going to be finished. No more bonuses. And I went, right. The only way I'm going to be able to buy a mortgage is if I qualify and get this bonus at the end of the year in December. So I sat down with my manager and I said, how am I going to do this? And he said, well, this is the amount of income by a certain date that you need to have, and this is the amount of bonus. So I knew that much. So I went and found a book written in the 1920s. I think it was a Dale Carnegie book. One of the great success men of our time in terms of, sales. So I devoured that, And what I learned was how to reverse engineer to achieve your goal. So when I say that if you want to lose weight, if you whatever you want, if you want a certain amount of money, you want to bring love into your life, a love relationship, I mean, this is how you do it. So when it came to me back then, after reading what I needed to find out about reverse engineering, so this is what I want to give you, girls, is you work out by the end of the year or quarterly, whatever you want, but how much income by a certain date in December. Then you divide that by how many months from your starting date. And then, so that's how much a month. Then I divided that by 4 to bring it back to how much a week I needed. So that brought it back to, I better get busy every day. So if I want X amount, what have I got to do in the week to achieve that? So this is the formula that I'm teaching you, that I mentioned in, when you've got a vision written down with an achievable goal. It's got to have a date, and then you reverse engineer it. So once again, it's the masculine and the feminine. The feminine aspect of this is sitting in the feeling of the wish fulfilled of whatever you want. 500 grand, 20 grand in 2 months, whatever it is. So do the visioning work, do the imagining work, sit in that field of energetics out there in the ether, and have your gratitude spoken out, written correctly and spoken out. So that's all your feminine work, and then you get into your actionable steps, which is the masculine. So as I said, on a Sunday, you set the week up, and looking after yourself, you've got to, every day is different. Whether you want to be regimented, and I don't get to the gym like today, last 2 days I've been of a morning, but probably, tomorrow I might go in the afternoon, but I'm going to go daily. So set your days up with, you've got to keep yourself accountable. And so with these actionable steps, with the reverse engineering towards your income goal, from the hyper targeting that I've got you to do every day, this is an income producing activity. And when you get on the phone and start making calls, it's an income producing activity, you bet, big time. And that will really upset some, because you'll be wanting a sure thing every day. Well, it don't work like that. So yeah, I'll do a training on mindset. But you reverse engineering, just keep yourself accountable. Whatever on a Sunday, when you're setting your pages up, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, maybe Saturday, your income producing activities, you've got to do them. So that when you've got to do them. All right, I'll give you some reality. When I was an insurance agent and I did the reverse engineering, I knew that some of those applications I was making on behalf of people, business owners, employees, some of those applications weren't going to get accepted. Some people had they flew planes, they rode motorbikes, they were heavy smokers, had health problems. So some of those applications got cancelled. They didn't go through and get accepted. So I had to allow for that and keep doing more and more and more. So I was so committed. See, I wasn't wishy-washy. There was no way I was missing out on that bonus. It was a lot of money to me. It was like, there was no other opportunity for me. So I was dedicated, I was committed, and that's how you've got to be. It's your own game. And if you're wishy-washy, they're the results you'll get. And I was walking a tightrope because I didn't know with the applications which ones would get accepted, which ones would get declined. So I just had to keep putting more in, allowing for the fact that some would get cancelled, some would get put in the bin. So every Friday afternoon, I look back on my activities every day that was income producing. My admin work, all the admin, I did my own admin, I didn't have a receptionist, I did my own, and I didn't worry about that. I did that later in the day because I would not go into my office, I would not drive to my office until I had done my income producing activities, which was calling on businesses and introducing myself to business owners, handing them a card and making an appointment with a word track I created. Sure wasn't a sales visit. But who would want that? How crass. That is cold calling. I did it with class. So that's how I did it. But no, my manager, no one told me how to do it. I just didn't want to sleaze around on the phone. I hated it. So I came up with that to be person to person. So come Friday afternoon, that's what I was going to say. I would not go into my office until I had made 3 or 4 calls in person each and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. So I became habitual doing that. And so with my cases that got accepted and the commission I got, I was able to be in control and know and account and evaluate progressively the amount I was making toward that end of year income goal that I had to make. So I'm saying that to give you the real deal on what it takes. It's actually a really simple recipe, and I have a language around this that I really like to teach, and I'm going to give it to you girls. And what it is, in the day of all of the things that you have to do, whatever you've got, I'm not talking about personal. When it comes to this business, whatever you've got to do in the day, your biggest responsibilities are. I'll give them to you in order. Looking after what's between your ears, your mindset, I didn't go to the gym back then. So look, your attitude is everything. And do the hardest things first. So I think, girls, what that means translated for what you'll be doing is what you don't want to do. If you don't want to pick up that phone when I share with you what you will say, if you don't want to pick up that phone and work from your warm list and cold list of prospects, that is the thing you don't want to do. That's what you gotta do. That's doing the hardest thing first. Because if you put it off and do it in the afternoon, you're fooling yourself, you won't do it. When you face your biggest mountain of fear and anxiety and you do that first, you feel like, oh, the pressure's gone. Please take my advice, because I think I learned this when I had that personal development high in business. You do the hardest things first. So your hardest things will be your income producing activities, which you're going to be rocking up and doing a video and posting it on Insta or Facebook. That will be one of your income producing activities that you might want to squirm out of, and picking up the phone will probably be the other income producing activity that you might want to squirm out of. So to do the hardest things first that are income producing, it's those two. And if you just start where you're at, you can grumble and gripe. I won't hear you. Don't worry about it. Don't be tough on yourself. If you make the decision, it's not a feeling, because I've created most of my success on very bad hair days. I've gone through a lot of rejection over the years. So talk to me about that. I wish somebody would. It's not about waiting until you feel like doing it. You do it even when you feel at your worst. Because when you shift the focus off yourself and put it onto others, it lifts you. So the reverse engineering, this is the recipe to succeed. So Sunday afternoon, sit around, set your week up, have it written out. So come Monday morning, you look at it, you go, woo, I've done it. Whenever I go and work out and look after myself, the video I'm going to do, the calls I'm going to make, and always do more, because successful people do more than they're supposed to. If you do the minimum, don't expect a harvest. Just start, just do it. And so if you're not going to work Saturday, so you can evaluate your week, I look, it's funny, those habits from so long ago has stuck to me. It's so precious. And this is what, see, a lot of successful CEOs, you know what they do? They evaluate their progress at the end of every day, not the end of every week. And I had a beautiful client a few years ago. She was a massage therapist, and she hired me to, because she was also a counsellor, to help her with a high ticket sales. And she loved this teaching so much, she took it on and she evaluated her days at the end of every day. She had a beautiful, beautiful attitude. She fell in love with it. She said, oh, this is so good, Leslie. Shows me exactly where I'm going and what I'm doing, and I'm in control of it. I said, that's right. So if you do that, or evaluate Friday, and so at the end of every month, it's the same deal. And you've got all your evidence from everything you've written up on I book everything on whether it's a booking coming in from Calendly that goes to my calendar. So I do the digital, of course I do, for all my Zoom calls. But I'm old-fashioned in that I use a day pad that I rule up. I'm very comfortable with that because it's the same habit that from my history. But it works, and you see it, and I write. And I colour code things. So come Friday, I look at the week if I've been slack or if I know what I wanted to tell you. So back in when I started coaching, and listen to this. My goal wasn't a financial goal. Well, it was, but I didn't put the money first. So my goal, because in sales we have a saying, some in terms of those prospects who'll become paying clients, some will, some won't, so what? Next. So what I did, I set my week up that I wanted 8 appointments by Friday. 8 booked appointments after I'd spoken to business owners. 8 booked appointments. My goal every week, and it was week in, week out, week in, week out. My goal was the same. 8 booked appointments that week. And by Friday, if I didn't have 8 and I was short, I worked Saturday morning. I did my best. So if you don't get your 8th one on the Saturday morning, at least you've done your best. So out of those 8, I had sales there. So you give your best, but you're unattached to those who say no, because they still live with their problems. It's not your problem. You've given them an opportunity. So there was always sales. at different price points, whether it was 1,000, whether it was 3,000, 2,000, 5, 8, 7. So there you go. That's reverse engineering. It is the winner's circle, we should call it. Because you've got no excuse. You got no excuse to not get what you want. And this is it. It's not about sitting on a magic carpet and going, oh, I'll just manifest. You do all the imagining and the feeling and the gratitude, definitely. And these actionable steps, you do those two things, you'll change your life. And whatever questions you've got for me from listening to this, I'm here to support any question you've got for me.